Have you heard of the new telenovela podcast, Princess of South Beach? It's a telenovela like you've never heard it before. Here's a recap of what's happened so far.
Shut up, Howard! I don't want to talk to you! Shut up! I already said! No!
Claudia! Oh, thank God! Where were you thinking, my love? I thought you were dead!
Who are you? Who's Gloria?
Oh my God, you're in shock!
Where am I?
At your house. Now come on, everybody's dying to see you.
Everybody? Who's everybody?
Your family, silly Billy.
My family?
Want to hear more? Listen to Princess of South Beach on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts. Princess of South Beach is presented by Lincoln. Lincoln, the power of sanctuary.
Millions of Americans are getting back to work. CareerBuilder calls it the Great Rehire. And we want to help you get the best jobs before everyone else. CareerBuilder gives you the competitive edge to get the job you want, at the salary you want, with the benefits you want. We even send job alerts, so your perfect job lands right in your inbox. Go to CareerBuilder.com today, or get left with whatever jobs are left. Find your next job fast at CareerBuilder.com. CareerBuilder is made for people who have that thing. You know, those superpowers that make you good at your job, the skills you bring to work. And CareerBuilder knows those skills make you right for other jobs too. Higher paying jobs with benefits, jobs you never thought of trying. Are you a people person? Work from home as a customer service rep? Are you organized and like driving? Become a delivery driver. You have the skills it takes, and CareerBuilder.com has the jobs to get you hired fast. Visit CareerBuilder.com.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
Yes, I am. It is a numbers game. Good morning to you, Gil Alexander, right here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Good Wednesday morning to you. VSiN.com, the VSiN app, Fubo, Sling, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV. It's all brought to you by BetMGM Nevada. Good show today. Let's talk about hour number 2 first. Jason Weingarten on all things baseball from under a cloud of smoke in Southern California, the host of the Wide World of Weingarten podcast. And there is a rumor, Jeff Parles, who's here as well. Jeff Parlay, how you doing, Jeffrey? You good? Yes? No?
We won our bet last night.
Jeff Parlay.
That you and I discussed off the air, so we're in good shape.
Slow to the mic, Jeff Parlay. Yeah, no, I didn't trust Cole. You didn't. You thought Eovaldi. You trusted Eovaldi more than you trusted Chris Sale. Our guest liked the Yankees yesterday, but you and I didn't necessarily buy into it. But back to the story at hand. We'll have Jason Weingarten hour number 2, and I'm told he's on camera today. Is that possible, or just Skype audio? We don't know. It'll be a mystery. We'll see. That would be awesome. Captain Jack Andrews will be here as well. I'm not sure if Rufus Peabody will be with him. Rufus will be on the Megapod tomorrow from the D, which I do with Mikey Palm and with Todd Wishnev on the Beating the Book podcast. Rufus will be on that. I'm not sure if Rufus is in today, but Captain Jack will be here today, who I have nominated as the commissioner of sports betting, here to discuss Unabated, which is a product that he and Rufus have put out, which really genuinely, authentically wants to make bettors better. If you ever wanted help in quantifying your sports bets, that's going to be a nice conversation with Captain Jack next hour. And Michael Lombardi joins us. I have a bevy of NFL questions for him as well. This hour, Josh Towers will join us, talk a little baseball, and tennis picks, the return of tennis picks. Ladies and gentlemen, what you've been clamoring for. They're playing at Indian Wells, the BNP Paribas Open, tennis's 5th major. The women start today. Men are still in qualies. Women start today. I have 2 picks. We'll give those out later this hour. So we'll do that. And a whole bunch of football props to get to. Jeff and I will go through those. Let's begin with the game last night, Jeffrey. Red Sox beat the Yankees in the American League wild card game. You play 162 games. If you're in the wild card, I'm sorry. If you lose, have a nice vacation. And the Red Sox get it done in a big way, 6-2. They win it outright as plus 122 consensus dogs in the end. Garrett Cole giving up a 2-out, 2-run shot to Xander Bogaerts in the first inning, and the Red Sox were on their way. Kyle Schwarber added a solo jack later to make it 3-0 on their way to a 6-2 win. I will say this, not only not trusting Garrett Cole, but the Were you a little surprised when Alex Cora at 3-1, when Rizzo hit a solo shot off of Eovaldi? Eovaldi had given up 2 hits the entire game, one of which was an infield single. The only other hit was the Stantonian home run that wasn't, according to John Sterling over there in New York. What did I do wrong? What did I see wrong? One of the great calls ever. John Sterling on New York radio. He's at first base, John. That's what you did wrong. So it was only 2 hits that Eovaldi gave up. The Stantonian single off the top of the monster, and then an infield single. And then so Rizzo hits one out, and then there's another infield single, and Cora takes out Eovaldi. It ended up working out fine. They had to make a play at the plate, by the way, because Stanton had a single after that. But at the moment, I was sort of like, I don't know if I want you to do that. Did you have that little moment as well?
Yes.
I was like, that seemed a little quick.
I did, because that Red Sox bullpen has been mediocre the whole year, Gil. So, look, I think in the end here, first off, Giancarlo hit 2 balls last night off the Green Monster that in any other place would have been absolute moonshots. But look, in the end for this, great win for Boston. Clutch hitting with 2 outs happened multiple times last night to put that game on ice. The 2-run single late in that game to get it to 6-1. Bogarts' homer was with 2 outs after Devers. That Devers at bat in the first inning ended up being the most important at bat of the entire game.
The walk. Yeah.
Because that was a long at bat. He made Cole work. He fought off some tough pitches, drew the walk, and then Cole left that fastball right down the pipe for Bogarts, and he took full advantage.
Red Sox now go on to take on the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa Bay Rays about a $2 favorite in that series. And, of course, the other American League series, which will start tomorrow afternoon, the White Sox and the Astros, with the Astros a slight minus 125-ish series favorite. We'll talk to Jason Weingarten later about both of those. We'll also talk to him about the Braves and the Brewers, where the Brewers continue to sort of trickle up as a favorite incrementally. We still don't know, of course, who the Giants are playing. That will be decided tonight. The National League wild card game between the Cardinals and the Dodgers. Now, I am on the Cardinals in this game pre-flop. I made the bet, to be perfectly honest with you, at plus 183. That's about 18 cents low, because right now you can get it at about plus 201 in some spots. We're showing a consensus of plus 195 on the Cardinals. And I just want to make clear to folks who are, sort of new to baseball betting or haven't, really bet baseball for a long time in their lives and are like, what are you talking about? Why would you bet the Cardinals against this Dodgers behemoth? If this were a 5-game best of 5 series like the division series are, or if this is a best of 7 like the championship series are, I would not bet the Cardinals at a series price of plus 195 because the Dodgers' talent gap would manifest more likely over that period of time. But this is one game, as the Yankees so very well know this morning. This is just one baseball game. And yes, it's Max Scherzer, but it's Adam Wainwright and the Cardinals and the devil's magic of the Cardinals. Adam Wainwright, by the way, on the season, well, let me give you Max Scherzer's numbers first while I wait for Wainwright's to come up. But with Scherzer, a 34.1% K rate, which is right in line with where he's been 4 out of the last 5 years, north of 34%, 34.1% K rate. His walks have even been down this year by and large, 5.2%. So just any way you slice it with Scherzer, both in his time with the Nationals and the Dodgers, just unbelievable. Here's his 22 career postseason appearances, 18 career postseason starts. Team record, though, in those starts, 8-10. He's pitched into the 7th inning in just 5 of those 18 career postseason starts. And there are his numbers during the postseason, 3.38 ERA, 1.13 whip. So a little more pedestrian, but your competition is even, obviously stepped up in a postseason, generally speaking. But on the year, in terms of his advanced stats, also, Scherzer, not only a 2.46 ERA, but 2.89 xERA, his FIP, 2.97. I mean, just tremendous across the board. Has gotten the good fortune of it with BABIP, though, I will say this year, 247. And then there's Adam Wainwright, 28 career postseason appearances, 15 career postseason starts. Cardinals only 5-10, though, in his career postseason starts. He's pitched into the 7th inning in 9 of 15 starts, so he's gone deeper by and large in the postseason than Scherzer has. 2.89 career postseason ERA, 1.11 whip, 9.7 strikeouts per 9 in his 109 innings pitched in the postseason. Wainwright, though, is a guy that you definitely just have to have a little trepidation facing in the postseason. The Cardinals are a franchise. You have to have a little trepidation facing in the postseason. So again, let's relate it to last season's World Series between the Rays and the Dodgers. There was a lot of people who model baseball, who predict baseball through models, whose models spit out last year. Spat, I believe, would be the correct past tense of that. Who spat out that the Rays had some incremental advantage based on the numbers, like they were plus EV over time. But when it comes to the Dodgers in a series, again, the talent gap is such that even if you had some incremental advantage on the Rays, over the course of a series, you have to fight the instinct. You have to have the humility in your numbers that the Dodgers are a different animal. But one game of baseball, give me the Cardinals all day long at this price. And you can even get it at a better price than I did here again tonight, plus 195 consensus. You have a pre-flop play on this, Jeffrey?
Gil, it's not quite the obligation that it was in the 2019 World Series.
Oh, we saved that for only the best of times.
We only saved that for only the best ones, but it feels pretty darn close to it. Where one game only, I know those playoff stats aren't quite what we would have anticipated with Wainwright, where he was actually the bulk of his positive stats after looking through it last night came out of the bullpen in 2006. That was the best of Adam Wainwright in the postseason. Remember, he missed the 2011 run for the Cardinals. He had Tommy John. He didn't pitch at all that year for St. Louis. So it's not like if it was like we're going back in the time machine for Chris Carpenter here.
No.
But Adam Wainwright's still obviously a really good big game pitcher in big regular season games, as we've seen in the past. But Gil, this is one of those. If the Cardinals lose, so be it.
So be it. That's right. Tip of the cap, you have the Dodgers, but I'll bet the Cardinals every time at this price. So South Point, Chrissy Andrews, Mike Mishbucha, Vinny Maliulo, Jimmy Vaccaro, there's some other books that do this as well, have put out exactas for the World Series. And by exactas, meaning the team to beat the other team, not just the two participants, but who's going to beat who in the World Series. South Point has the Dodgers over the Astros, Dodgers over the Rays, Dodgers over the White Sox over the Dodgers are all the short shots. Pardon me. At 12-1. Astros over the Dodgers. You will notice a theme here on the Dodgers. 15-1. Rays over the Dodgers. 18-1. What's the Giants over the Rays? Do you know what that is off the top of your head? Rays over Giants is 22-1. I would play the Giants over the Rays. I believe it's the Rays and the Giants in the World Series. Those are the two franchises to me that get baseball on a molecular level, a granular level that other teams don't. So if I was playing one of these, which I haven't, by the way, full disclosure, but if I were, I would probably go out here after the show today, and maybe I will, and see what the Giants over the Rays, see what that price is. But if you can find these, shout out to Chrissy Andrews, because he was the first person to ever translate horse racing exactas to sports betting. What are the Giants over the Rays?
25.
I might take a dabble. I'm so vested in the Giants anyway, as is. But this is fun. Thank goodness for postseason baseball. Last night was relatively ho-hum in the end. Tonight should be awesome, and then tomorrow with the division series starting, oh, it just gets better from here. We'll talk again to Josh Towers later about this, Jason Weingarten as well. Next, Jeff and I look at some NFL markets, MVP, Rookies of the Year, offensive and defensive, Comeback Player of the Year, coming back right here on the Numbers Game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
When do you do your best thinking? The HP Spectre X360 is ready for when inspiration strikes. With power saved for battery life and focus mode to multitask, you can do your best thinking whenever, wherever. Do you do your best thinking after breakfast, before bed, when you're at your computer, when you're away from it? Or do you do your best thinking by being outside? Maybe music helps, like classical, pop, or even hardcore punk. No matter when or where or how, the truth is you can't always schedule when and where you might have a brilliant thought. That's why the HP Spectre X360 2-in-1 convertible PC with Windows 11 saves battery life for whenever an idea hits you. HP Spectre X360, a more thoughtful laptop.
Ran out of propane? No need to drive to the store when you can get propane delivery straight to your door with Cinch. CYNCH. Cinch brings the tanks to you. It's easy and convenient propane home delivery. Here's how it works. Go to cinch.com, that's CYNCH.com. Enter your zip code, select your delivery date, and drop-off location. It's really that easy. Just set your used tank out for pickup the night before your delivery, and Cinch handles the rest. There's no ongoing commitment when you try Cinch. and they accept any and all tank brands for exchange. Not a Cinch customer yet? What are you waiting for? New customers can get their first propane tank exchange for just $10 with promo code TANK10 at checkout. That's CYNCH.com, promo code TANK10. Turn up the heat this summer with Cinch. Ridiculously easy propane grill tank home delivery. Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. Visit CYNCH.com/offer for details.
Millions of Americans are getting back to work. CareerBuilder calls it the great rehire. And we want to help you get the best jobs before everyone else. CareerBuilder gives you the competitive edge to get the job you want, at the salary you want, with the benefits you want. We even send job alerts, so your perfect job lands right in your inbox. Go to CareerBuilder.com today, or get left with whatever jobs are left. Find your next job fast at CareerBuilder.com.
The Numbers Game with Gil Alexander on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Football season is here. I don't know if you know that. And it's time to download BetMGM Sports. It is Nevada's premier sports betting app. BetMGM has all your favorite wagering options, along with in-game betting, boosted odds specials, and much more. Download the BetMGM app today. Doesn't take you more than a few seconds, I promise you. And then you stop by any MGM casino on the Strip with your state-issued ID to open an account. That won't take but a few minutes. Then you start placing sports bets. It's that easy from anywhere in Nevada. Whatever your sport, whatever your betting style, you're going to love BetMGM's state-of-the-art technology and fan-friendly specials every day of the week. Visit BetMGM for terms and conditions. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Nevada. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Skill Alexander, Jeff Parlay is here as well. Josh Towers will join us. Jason Weingarten, Captain Jack on the show today in studio. And I think Rufus Peabody will be here as well in studio to discuss Unabated. For those of you who want to step up your sports betting game in a quantifiable way, they will talk to us about what they're doing these days. And we'll talk to Michael Lombardi, a whole bunch of NFL questions to pepper him with at the end of the show. The Lombardi thing at the end, Jeff, I have about 25 questions I want to ask him, and I inevitably get to 3. So anyway, we could just kidnap Michael for an entire hour. No, can't do that. Can't do that. Okay. Let's look at some NFL props. Shall we start with MVP? Never too early to look at these. NFL MVP odds. Kyler Murray is your short shot, courtesy of BetMGM. Josh Allen plus 650. Patrick Mahomes now at plus 750. And remember the thing with Mahomes is that he's sort of in that LeBron James category of, we probably could give it to this dude every year if we wanted to. Maybe not so far this year, by the way, it should be pointed out. But probably by the end of the year, it could be the same thing. Well, we could give it to him, but this is sort of boring. Who was it? Somebody said that about, one of the NBA coaches said that about LeBron. Like, they just get bored of giving it to LeBron every year. Justin Herbert is now 8-1. I got him 2 weeks ago at 40-1. Aaron Rodgers, that's the only one I have, by the way. Aaron Rodgers is 10-1. Dak is also 10-1. Stafford 12-1. Everybody else 20-1 or longer. Derek Carr might have been the sort of leader in the clubhouse before this past Monday night's game, but he was like 25-1 still. I don't know. I couldn't get myself to ever advocate a Derek Carr bet. But these are generally reflective of where these players are now, I would say.
Those numbers are what they were as of last night.
Yeah.
Checked this morning. There was no change.
No, but I'm just saying generally reflective of their play to this point.
I would say, yes. Derek Carr being that short indicates that he's been awesome so far this year. So, look, Gil, I have a bet on Stafford that I made earlier. Of course, now I could have actually, if I was a little more patient, I would have gotten a better number. I got 10-1. Obviously, you can get 12 now on Stafford. The expectation for me was that the Rams were going to beat the Cardinals. That obviously did not happen. But, Gil, doesn't this feel like if the Cardinals make the playoffs, that Kyler Murray is probably going to win this award?
I want to say that about Justin Herbert, too, though.
Okay.
If Justin Herbert and the Chargers, say, win the AFC West and beat the Chiefs in the AFC West, think about those expectations. I guess you could say the same about the Cardinals against the Rams to some degree, too. But to me, it would be a Murray versus Herbert. I get your narrative there. Murray versus Herbert. I think those are the two players that you have to look at. What about Dak, who is just going to put up numbers week after week after week, one would assume, barring injury, and good Lord, let's not have him get hurt again. But as a Washington football team lifetime fan talking here, I mean, that guy's going to put up ridiculous numbers, and he definitely will have some love. There is another category coming up, though, where we're going to talk about Dak. But I think those are generally reflective. The Justin Herbert number is gone. I don't know that I'd bet it at 8-1 currently. You got to get it. Now, the Patrick Mahomes thing at plus 750, though, is an interesting thing. Last thing about this. I think that's interesting because you may not find a Patrick Mahomes MVP number that long ever again. He comes out, he plays well this week. Chiefs win in their big game against Buffalo. They play Buffalo this week, right? Kansas City. They win that game. You'll never see the plus 750 ever again. So that if you ask me what must you bet, you must make one bet this week. That's the guy I'd bet. Mahomes at plus 750. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Mac Jones and Jamar Chase now co-short shots, if you will, 4-1. Jones, after his performance Sunday night, where Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth were ready to canonize him into the Hall of Fame. And then Jamar Chase, who scored beaucoup touchdowns, 4, in his first 3 games with the Bengals this year. He's at 4-1. These are for Rookie of the Year. Then Trey Lance, plus 650. Trevor Lawrence, plus 750. Justin Fields, 10-1. It's just so difficult to give this to anybody but a quarterback. We talked about how Justin Jefferson had an all-world wideout campaign for the Vikings last year, comparable to even that of Randy Moss's rookie year, if you can believe that, with the Vikings, and yet Justin Herbert's stats trumped him. So for Jamar Chase to win this, Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Zach Wilson would all have to be pretty pedestrian the rest of the season, or at least meh. Technical term, for another non-quarterback to win this. Does Najee interest you at all? Because he gets about 55 targets a game? No?
No, because even though it's not his fault that the Steelers might go 7-10, if the Steelers are under 500, I think everyone on that team is going to get thrown out in any sort of award, even if they may deserve it.
Is it Mac Jones, of the quarterbacks? Let's do that game where I'm like, okay, you have to make one bet. You have to make a bet. Obviously, that's not how the world works. But let's say you had to. Are you betting Mac Jones at 4-1, or are you taking still someone like Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson, who you know is going to be there and throwing the ball around the yard because those two teams are going to be behind mostly?
I don't want Mac Jones at that price. That's my issue. I think that price is way too short at 4-1. I would only look to the other two. I'd look to Lawrence and Wilson. I don't think either of them are going to get there. But that price at 4-1 does not interest me at all on Mac Jones. Just feels too short, Gil.
Yeah, and with Trey Lance, we don't know if we're going to see him Sunday or not yet. We'll find out more about Jimmy G today. So it's hard to make a bet on Trey Lance when you still don't know that. And it appears like Kyle Shanahan's just telling us outright he's the number 2 for a reason. And Justin Fields, Matt Nagy is going out of his way to tell you that, hey, if Andy Dalton is healthy, he really wants you to know that Andy Dalton is going to be the quarterback. How about Defensive Rookie of the Year? I'm not going to have much to say about this. But Micah Parsons at plus 375 seems to me to be the guy. And he also gets the most buzz, which is really key to these kind of human-based awards where humans are voting on this kind of thing. Micah should be plus 375, shouldn't he? Is there anybody else on there? Odafe Owe, 12-1. Interesting. But Parsons is just getting all the press.
So always the only one that is any sort of intriguing other than Parsons there, because again, Mike has been so good so far for Dallas. But look, Baltimore is a primetime game this week. We saw what happened the last time Baltimore had a primetime game. Owe had a spectacular game and made the play that put that game away for the Ravens. He has another big game against a mediocre offensive line and a turnover-happy quarterback in Wentz. Maybe those odds shortened a bit. That 12 is a pretty reasonable number on Owe.
Yeah, this also, the thing about Micah, though, Micah Parsons at the top there is, he's not even playing the position he was supposed to play. So it's like, oh, hey, Micah, we need help on the defensive line. You're awesome. Could you do this? And he's even better at that than he is at linebacker. So I think that's probably the right guy to be the short shot here. Let me just bring this up, too, since we're talking about the Cowboys. Jalen Smith got cut yesterday by the Cowboys, released outright. And a lot of people were up in arms about that. And if you have any true Cowboys friends in your life who are fans of that team, they will immediately tell you, if they're actually good football fans and know the sport, they will tell you they're kind of happy with that saving of money towards a salary cap. Because Jalen Smith, and I've heard numerous Cowboys fans say that, he's just not a good football player in the end. Yes, he's like, he's fourth in tackles since whatever year. There's a stat out there about Jalen Smith. But in the end, he's out of position a lot. He overruns plays all the time, can't cover anyone. But he will make a splash play here and there that will get the average fan to think, Jalen Smith is awesome. But truly on a play-by-play basis, this was a long time coming. And so that's actually viewed as a pretty good thing by Cowboys fans, at least anecdotally, those that I've talked to. Stephon Gilmore, released by the Patriots this morning, couldn't come to terms on an extension to his contract. There will be a robust market for him. 2019 Defensive Player of the Year. Let's squeeze this in before the break here. Comeback Player of the Year. Dak Prescott -165. Joe Burrow's the only other person in single digits. This is Dak's award, and I would suggest if you could get, is this available in Nevada at BetMGM or just in other BetMGM markets? BetMGM markets.
I'll have to double check, but this is definitely available in all the other jurisdictions.
So whatever jurisdiction you're in that has BetMGM or DraftKings for that matter, because I think they have this market too, if you can find Dak Prescott and we're showing it at -165, I would bet that to the cows come home. Because who's beating that, barring an injury? And again, God forbid Dak has another injury. But Dak Prescott is the comeback player of the year. And for those who say, hey, what about Burrow at +750? What exactly is he coming back from? 5 games? Comeback player of the year. All of these awards are voted on by humans. I would argue comeback player of the year is the most nebulous, the most difficult to judge what they're going to actually want in a vote. But I'll tell you, a guy that only played 5 games wouldn't be my vote for comeback player. That's Dak's to lose. We'll come back. Josh Towers on baseball. Numbers Game, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A Numbers Game with Gil Alexander on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The NHL season is almost here, and our hockey betting experts are ready for all the action. The VSiN Hockey Betting Guide now available with strategies and best bets for the season ahead. How great was it to see Andy McNeil yesterday? Get in-depth analysis from our hockey experts, including the great Andy McNeil, with predictions for teams and players, win totals, daily betting tips, as well as season-long trends to watch. Guide is a must-have with key insights and data for both avid hockey bettors and those new to the sport. Give yourself an edge this season and get your digital copy now for only $9.99 at VSiN.com/subscribe. That's $9.99. We were noting on Primetime Action, which I did with Matt Brown and Kelly Biddle last night, that the hockey guide is $9.99, whereas football, I believe, was double that price. So you get the hockey discount on this, but it is chock full of information nonetheless. Andy, we only got to 2 bets yesterday. We got to his thoughts on the Kraken. We got to his thoughts on the Islanders. He has double digits bets in there. Season wins, or season points, I should say. Futures plays, division for the whole Stanley Cup. So it is just completely full of stuff. We'll have to have Andy back later in the week to continue with a couple more of his thoughts. Again, $9.99 for the hockey betting guide. Check it out at VSiN.com/subscribe. Let's talk some baseball. He's a VSiN host. He hosts Bet Center on the weekend, or is a co-host of that show. Of course, played with the Jays, played with the Orioles, played with the Yankees, coached with the Mets, gave up Barry Lamar Bond's 747th home run. It's Josh Towers, everybody. How you doing, Josh?
I love how you always got to throw that one in there.
Dude, you know what, though? Isn't in a small way, you're about to slam me for this, isn't that a bit of a badge of honor, though? Don't you like having that? One of his all-time great 762 home runs was off of you. Isn't that a little thing for you to hold in your heart? No?
No, there's an arrogance factor when we played him that I like I told my GM, I just want to see how good he is, and I wish they would have given me an opportunity to be prepared when we showed up there. It's not, but I was explaining this to hitters yesterday at the park, why he was so different and the things that he was able to do naturally, but also things that he made the adjustments to that other people just don't understand. And when you start to explain what Barry Bonds did on top of his gift, you go, wait a minute, are you sure that's real? I'm like, that's exactly real. That's why he saw the ball longer. That's why he made better decisions. That's why he knew what the strike zone was, and people can't fathom. But it's doable for a lot of people. His bat speed's a little bit different.
But he did see the ball longer. That is for sure. All right, I want to ask you about this game last night. Red Sox beat the Yankees. Goodbye, Yankees. 6-2. The Red Sox win it as dogs. Slight dogs, but +122 dogs consensus in the end. I just one note about this. Did you get a little did you have that little cringe feeling when Alex Cora took out Nathan Eovaldi after a solo shot from Rizzo and an infield single, up 3-1? He had only given up. That was only the third hit of the game that he'd given up. The fourth, two of which were infield singles. Did a little part of you worry at that point about the Red Sox?
I may or may not have tweeted something. I don't recall. Yeah, I was super nervous. This guy's dealing, and he's proven to show up in these situations. Is also why you pay the man. And he's dealing. He hasn't really missed a spot. Everybody's going to give up some hits. It's Fenway. For you to give up one run at Fenway, you're doing something very special. He hangs a curveball down and into a lefty. You don't ever do that. All right, no big deal. It's a home run. And then I give up an 0-2 single, but I went back to getting 0-2. So how are you? Like, your bullpen is god-awful. You have this guy on the mound, a la Blake Snell, dealing. And if the first sign of adversity, the first sign you're going to yank him out of the game and go to somebody who's not half as good, like, that's my fear of the postseason. On the flip side, Garrett Cole didn't have it. His elbow was low. The ball was flat. It was, like, all hittable. So sometimes you have to make those decisions as a manager early, and it's not the easiest decision. But, dude, the Eovaldi thing was crazy. I was like, oh, my God, you're bringing in this bullpen. What are you going to do? Bring in G. Rich, who's been a starter, and then it was scary to me. They got lucky because the offense bailed him out, but that's a bad call in my opinion.
Yeah, bailed him out for sure. I would love to watch a game with you, Josh, first of all, because, first of all, you should be betting these games in-game, because what you just said right there, you're like, oh, Garrett Cole's, his elbow was low. Like, okay, mere mortals like ourselves who watch baseball and have never played at the level you have are not going to notice that. But you noticed that how quickly? First inning on Garrett Cole?
Yeah, it was right away. Again, like, it's kind of crazy, man, and I'm not trying to Tony Romo this, but, when I'm coaching, I can watch guys warm up and go, okay, he's not really going to have it today. This is where we have to be a little bit more patient, or this is what you could tell by the way because muscle memory is a real thing. You see it in that situation with G. Cole. It was quick, man, and it reminded me of Ohtani at the start of September. I know he finished on a great note. That's a little bit of pride and adrenaline, but in the beginning of September, you saw Ohtani get low, man, to where I thought he was going to get hurt. I just didn't think he should be pitching. He looked tired, and it was very similar to that.
I'm pretty sure you Tony Romo'd that, by the way, Josh. I would totally, if I were you, I would be in-game betting these, man. If there's stuff like that you notice and then you can fade, that's phenomenal. Tonight, Cardinals and the Dodgers. Cardinals, massive underdogs, massive. But it is one baseball game, Josh. How would you bet this?
Yeah, again, real quick to your point, I had Boston yesterday, so there was nothing I can do as far as in-game at that point. Yeah, ahead of time. This is a tough game for me, man. It wasn't as, like, yesterday was a little bit more, I don't know, you felt Fenway a little bit better. The Cardinals and Wainwright, man, Wainwright seems to always step up in these situations. He likes the bright lights. He likes all the attention on him, and this team has created this belief system. And, of course, the Dodgers have been playing competitive baseball all year. We know that because they've been fighting with the Giants to win the division, so it's all been real. Scherzer's been the greatest thing on planet Earth outside of one game, but he finally got the bad one out of the way, which is kind of good as well. I'm very neutral on this game. I have a feeling it's going to come down to, like, the fifth and sixth inning, I think. I think the Dodgers are going to come in kind of complacent and know that they're good, so everybody's going to kind of be, like, overly relaxed. And then they're going to have to step up their game a little bit. So I think it comes down to when they pull Wainwright and whoever the first reliever is for the Cardinals. If they can sustain that, I think the Cardinals have a good chance at winning.
No Max Muncy, of course, tonight for the Dodgers. And if the Dodgers advance, maybe no Max Muncy for the duration of the division series. We have 3 division series that have already been determined, the third of which was last night. Rays, around a $2 favorite now against the Red Sox in the best-of-5 division series. You about the Rays there. Would you bet the Rays on the series price?
I think the series price might be steep. I mean, I do think the Rays win. I think the Rays get to the World Series. You guys know that. I just think they match up all around so much better, and the pitching is so much deeper than the Red Sox. I mean, how were they really going to let Chris Sale go, 5 innings? What are they really going to let him do when he pitches, right? So I think you're going to get better in-game prices than you will get a series price. So for me, I'd wait.
I like that. And then the 2 division series that were already determined in the American League, the White Sox and the Astros. The White Sox have been chilling for a long time on top of that division, knowing they would get to the postseason. The Astros actually took them to the last week of the season. That was one of the things that most people sort of didn't notice. The Astros didn't clinch until the very last week of the season, even though they kind of were, coasting in, but the Mariners wouldn't let them clinch till the last week. Astros are a -125 series favorite, best of 5. Who do you like there?
Astros for sure. You basically answered the whole question. I just feel like the White Sox, they had a good season. I don't think, again, they didn't finish strong. I don't think guys were healthy. I don't think they started early enough to put them in position to get their 2, 3, 4 starts to get a momentum going into the postseason. I don't think the lineup was consistently together. I just think that they're coming in kind of not knowing, where the Astros are kind of solidified. And then clinching late for me with the Astros means they don't go out and party as much. And I just, I have this thing in my head of Bregman and these guys going out and partying. I don't know if it's true or not. So it kind of kept them in-house. And I just think the Astros are the better team. So I don't know, man. I think the White Sox are in trouble.
Brewers, Braves in the National League. Brewers minus 140. I bet them already at minus 135. Where do you stand on the Brewers and the Braves?
If we think Nathan Eovaldi got pulled early last night, Craig Counsell, wait for him.
It's true.
I don't know, man. I mean, the Brewers might sneak out of first series. I don't know. I just think the Braves are a better team, and I think the Counsell is going to overly pull. I think the Braves. Yeah.
You like the Braves as a dog, then?
Yeah, I think these teams are evenly matched. I think offensively, obviously, the Braves are way better. I think the starting pitching favors the Brewers. I think the Brewers finally have a team to go deep in the postseason. They have what you need with those 3 guys, but he's not going to let them pitch. And the fact of the matter is, as good as Brandon Woodruff's been, he doesn't win baseball games. They just don't score for him. So you have to factor that in as well. I just think the Brewers are in a little bit of trouble.
Okay. And then who do you have beating who in the World Series before I let you go here?
I got to stick to my guns, man. I think the Rays and Dodgers are going to slug it out.
Rays and Dodgers to slug it out. Dodgers, of course, have to get by tonight first. That's the
and that's the whole. Man, that's the hardest thing. It's almost like, can you ask me after the wild cards are over? Because these 1 games are so tough.
But that's the thing, right? That was the thing about why the Giants-Dodgers race was so compelling, because one of them was going to be the second best team in baseball, and one of them was going to have 1 baseball game for their lives. And it ends up being the Dodgers. And as I talked with Paul Sporer about this yesterday, if the Dodgers lose tonight, the uproar about this format is going to be massive tomorrow. Massive.
No one will say anything about the Yankees. They'll just blame their salary and all that other stuff. But if the Dodgers do, I think this format is fantastic. I don't think people understand the importance of how hard a 162-game season is and what it means to us. And so winning your division is vital. So I love it.
Absolutely. Josh Towers. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it as always, man.
Talk to you soon.
You too. Josh Towers right here from Bet Center and VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Tennis picks next. Exclusively on a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
CareerBuilder is made for people who have that thing. You know, those superpowers that make you good at your job, the skills you bring to work. And CareerBuilder knows those skills make you right for other jobs too. Higher paying jobs with benefits. Jobs you never thought of trying. Are you a people person? Work from home as a customer service rep? Are you organized and like driving? Become a delivery driver. You have the skills it takes, and CareerBuilder.com has the jobs to get you hired fast. Visit CareerBuilder.com.
Tired of sitting in traffic for hours? Gas prices got you fuming? Rideshare becoming ride-diculous? Put the joy back in your ride with Metro. And now, introducing our first ever Metro sales event. Save up to 50% on our most popular passes, including daily, weekly, and even monthly passes. Use Metro to go to work, go to school, go to space. The Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, that is. Choose Metro for your next trip. The sale ends Friday, so act fast, act now, and visit WMATA.com/sale.
Another pothole, traffic and flight delays, aging public transportation. Congress is close to making historic investments in America's infrastructure. It's up to the House to finish the job. Pass the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, paid for by Business Roundtable.
A numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Get your payout before the game's out with BetMGM. Also rhymes. Place a moneyline wager on any Thursday night football game, and if your team is up by 10 or more points at halftime, you win. That's a full payout for only half the game, no matter what happens the rest of the way. Simply go to your BetMGM account, opt in each week to the Thursday night halftime payout promotion. Want to keep things rolling? Try BetMGM's extensive live betting options in the third quarter, or use your winnings to place a one-game parlay on Sunday. New to BetMGM? Download the app and see how you can turn halftime into cash time. Make a money line bet on Thursday night. If your team is up by 10 or more, you'll win at the half. Only at BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Opt-in is required to this. Eligibility restrictions apply. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years or older to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Promotional offer not available in Nevada or Pennsylvania. Skill Alexander, Jeff Parlay is here as well. Producer number 5 and producer number 8, the Grover Cleveland of producers. Still American history for you. What was he, 22 and 24, Grover Cleveland? I think so. Jeff is like, I have no idea what you're talking about. You keep calling me.
No, you're talking about.
Jeff is like, you keep calling me Grover Cleveland. I have no idea what you're saying. Okay, so let's talk. It is Indian Wells, the BNP Paribas Open. It is tennis's de facto fifth major. It is typically played in March. You may recall that when the pandemic hit last year, it was actually Indian Wells that was the first sporting event that was canceled. But most people don't follow tennis, so for them it was the college basketball conference tournaments. But it was the previous Sunday night where I was sort of like, oh no, this is happening. But we're here now, and we have it in October, which is awesome. The greatest sports betting month of the year with baseball playoffs and football on the weekends gets even better with Indian Wells. So now the ladies' main draw begins today. The men's main draw does not begin until tomorrow. They're still in qualies today. So here, by the way, is your futures board. Let's get back to that. Well, no, let's start with this before I give my picks for today. Sure, why not? It's on the screen. So here are your bets for the outright in the Indian Wells women's side of things. These are courtesy of BetMGM, and you will note that Emma Raducanu, who won the United States Open as a qualifier, breaking all just templates, breaking all constructs of what we believed someone could do in the sport of tennis in a major. The lovely 18-year-old Brit is now the short shot to win at Indian Wells. She got in here as a wild card, and so she is 8-1 per BetMGM. You will see Karolina Pliskova, Barbora Krejcikova, Garbine Muguruza, and Iga Swiatek all at 12-1 right behind her, and then everybody else 16-1 and longer. The best value bet on this board, and by the way, if you're asking, hey, is Raducanu justified as the short shot? The answer is yes. The answer is that Raducanu and Krejcikova have the best 6-month hard court data that you will find. And so at 8-1 and 12-1, if you wanted to bet those two or either, I would not scoff at you at all. In fact, who knows? At some point, I might add them. I do not have a Raducanu or Krejcikova bet, though, currently. The only player that I bet in the outright market, just because I thought the number was way off where it should be, I bet Marketa Vondrousova. Marketa, that's market with an A at the end, Vondrousova. I bet her last night at 63-1. Then I bet her at 58-1, and I bet her at 55-1. She is available at right around 50-1 in some spots now. Did I do that? I might have. You were saying at BetMGM it's 33-1. I would shop for a better number than that. Always shop around for these numbers. But in terms of raw hardcore data, that is clearly the best bet on the board, in my humble opinion. So I have bets on Vondrousova. Are her numbers as good as Raducanu's and Krejcikova's? No. But in terms of the number, that's the one that's out of whack. So I have bets in my account on Vondrousova to win Indian Wells. As far as today, again, the men's main draw doesn't begin until tomorrow. But on the ladies' side today, I made 2 wagers last night, and they're only about 5 cents worse than they were last night, so they're still very bettable. And we can flash those up here, Jeffrey, for everybody. I made 2 bets. The first one is on Kaia Kanepi, the Estonian who is taking on the American Madison Keys. You may recall Madison Keys in her heyday was actually in a United States Open final. She lost to Sloane Stephens several years ago. I got Kaia Kanepi, the Estonian, last night at minus 109. She's at minus 114 or thereabouts right now. But again, whatever book you're shopping at might have it differently. But I got her at minus 109 against Keys. All of my tennis bets, once again, are done. Yes, I watch tremendous amounts of tennis, but it's all based on tennis data, which has taken us this hard court season to over 30 units. Not too bad. So Kaya Kanepi over Madison Keys. Kanepi is the first play at -109. Again, even up to, it's -114 now. That's playable. Just don't bet it over, say, -120. We'll see if Keys can recapture anything. I'm going to bet against that. The other one is Irina Camelia Begu. I got her at -101 last night over the Italian Fiona Ferro. I believe Fiona Ferro is Italian. But I got Camelia Begu last night at -101. You can find her some pennies above, worse than that now, but it's still very bettable on Begu as well. That one to me also, Begu is more veteran than Ferro. Ferro probably on the way up in her career. Begu the more experienced. But the hardcore data does not reflect this price at all. This price is a good one on Begu. So it's Kanepi at -109 over Keys. These are the prices I got last night. Again, just a few pennies worse than that now. Begu -101 over Ferro. Kanepi, Begu, your two picks at Indian Wells today. Go back to the NFL if you could for a second here, Jeff, because we talked about the comeback player of the year, and we sort of ran into a commercial on that. And I hope people didn't take what I said about Joe Burrow's injury in the wrong way. What I'm saying here with comeback player of the year is awards in general, right? We're handicapping human beings betting. So take the NL MVP, which, as you probably know, I'm on Juan Soto there at 100-1. But now I have no idea what these voters are going to value, right? And that's MVP. Imagine comeback player of the year. That's far more nebulous than something like MVP. So what does a voter think is a comeback? And what I'm saying is, with this award, which really should be named after Alex Smith, who endured 17 surgeries and not only came back to play for Washington, but started for Washington and actually had a good record with Washington, one game throwing for 390 yards. A lot of it was yak, but let's not spoil the story. So Dak Prescott, who has had this career of football and then had the gruesome injury on the field last year for the Cowboys, the way he's playing and the way that offense is humming this year, he so clearly is the favorite. And -165, I don't think that's nearly high enough. I think that's a great bet. What I'm saying about Joe Burrow is, and again, this is me trying to get into the heads of voters. I get it. Joe Burrow had an injury too, but Joe Burrow has only played 5 games of professional football. So, if I'm voting for this, think about the Alex Smith comeback player of the year. That's based on Alex Smith's entire body of work before having that horrible injury. It's not from one season to another. Dak Prescott, same story. He's had a career, then the injury. I don't think you get comeback player of the year after 5 games. Jeff, am I off base on that?
If Dak didn't suffer that injury that he did, Burrow, I would say, probably should actually be the favorite. Just because, Gil, when you have your knee basically implode like Burrow's did, and you're able to come back, and I understand it was a small amount of time that he came back, that he played last year. But again, I think just because of someone who is supposed to be good, who showed some glimpses in his rookie season, I think he should be considered.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say if Dak Prescott didn't get hurt and wasn't on this, that the person I would recommend betting on would be Saquon Barkley. Because at that number, and obviously if Dak Prescott didn't exist, that number would be lower, but let's just say it's cut in half. Saquon, New York, not saying Tom Thibodeau didn't deserve Coach of the Year in the NBA, but when it was Tom Thibodeau versus Quinn Snyder, Monty Williams, all things being equal, maybe the New York votes go a little East Coast bias, I would think Saquon Barkley would be the guy for comeback player of the year. But who knows? Just opinions after several games this season. And we have one more of those before we go to break, Jeff. Jeff is throwing these at me sort of relatively blindly, so I'm not sure if I'll have an opinion on all these. But this is the last one. NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, I mean, those are the usual suspects at the top, right? And those ought to be. Myles Garrett plus 350, Aaron Donald 6-1, TJ Watt 9-1. We saw what happened with Pittsburgh when he left a game earlier this season. After the first quarter, Joey Bosa, who had things to say about the refs after that Chargers win the other night, he's 14-1. Can I just bring up one name on this list, though, that's not the guys at top, the usual names of Garrett, Donald, and TJ Watt and Bosa? How about Trayvon Diggs? How many more awesome plays does he have to make before all of a sudden he's in this conversation for real?
It just is hard for a corner to win that award.
It is. But if every week he has a highlight play, Stefon's younger brother, Trayvon Diggs, for the Cowboys, how about the Cowboys defense with Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs. Just having athletes like that. Anyway, not a market that I would actually bet into, but just a thought as we have these thrown at us here on this Wednesday morning. We'll come back. Jason Weingarten on baseball next. The numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hey, I'm Lilia Luciano, the host of El Flow, a podcast about reggaeton. In this podcast, we're going to hear from iconic reggaeton artists and take you backstage into all the conflict and drama that helped shape reggaeton. It's a story that includes war, drugs, censorship, sex, of course, perreo, my grandmother, and hell, even the CIA. Listen to El Flow on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I want to get back to kissing the cheeks of my grandbabies, making Sunday dinner with a house full of family and lots of laughs.
COVID-19 has changed how we live and how we feel. But now, there are vaccines. And they are the very first step that let us get back to what we miss most. It's okay to have questions.
Is it safe?
Should I wait? Now, get the facts. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.